was hot yesterday, it's every bit as hot today.
Well, there are yesterday's podium finishers just in the middle of our shot. They were Max Quiles, Rico Salmela and Jose Rueda. It was such an impressive performance from all of them. I really enjoyed watching Max come back from 13th on the grid and struggling throughout free practice to take that podium spot. Rico, well, he's been on form all weekend long, but he did have a couple of crashes which you would have wondered if they would have set him back. Those were from free practice and qualifying, but clearly not.
Well, he said, well, actually, making a mess of it on Friday, he said it made him angry with himself and made him all the more determined. He said, I went out there and said to myself, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to do it.
Brilliant.
And certainly he did. And it's so often the case, Matt, isn't it, that first victory is the most difficult one for a rider. And he's now in the groove.
Yeah, exactly. He's a really impressive. Here is the point standings then coming into this race. We have 75 points left on offer, 26 points the gap between Rueda and Colin Fire.
Yeah, and it's so many questions still to be answered. It's great, isn't it? You've got 2 free practice sessions, a qualifying and a race, and still we're thinking, well, who's going to do it? Can he do it? Has he changed the bike? Was that going to make it better, worse, whatever? We're about to find out, because we've got 15 laps of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action here. Race 2 at Motorland Aragon. There is just a single weekend in Valencia to come after this, so it's all on the line for race wins for the Cup. They're under starters' orders. Started just making sure everybody's in position, into gear. Revs are rising. Who's going to make the good start? Is Rueda going to get a whole shot from pole? He gets moving well, but so does Luca Lunetta from the middle of the front row. But it is Rueda who has the advantage on the run down to the first corner. Has he changed the gearing? Will he be able to shoot up the hill and get away from these guys?
Oh, who's that? Is that Buchanan who's got all crossed up in towards turn 1? I think it is from 6 on the grid. That's it, his advantage gone. What a shame for him, though.
Yeah, that is. And there's several other guys running off the track as well there on the first lap. But it's Rueda who has a run up the hill. The points leader, the pole man. It's already Filippo Farioli who's slotted into second place. But head down is Rueda, and he's determined to try and break away this time.
Yeah, I think another rider got caught up in that was Harrison Voigt as well. He made a great start from P4 on the grid, but then him and who was P5 on the grid? Colin Fire and Buchanan also got a cross start coming in towards turn 1, and Buchanan the real loser in that turn there. But Fire still maintains that, I think, 6th place at the moment, but yet another textbook start from Rueda there out front.
Yeah, and I think he's just behind Angel Piqueras, isn't he? So it is Rueda that has the advantage, but he's being chased hard by the others. They know they cannot possibly let him get away. They're skirting the green stuff. We saw a lot of excursions onto the green early in the race yesterday, but they managed to keep it all together, so we didn't actually have long lap penalties being dished out left, right and centre yesterday. Let's hope it's the same today. Right a bit wide,
yes, already. We saw this sort of frantic behaviour from Farioli yesterday. He looks more calm and collected today, despite a bit of pain in his ankle from those crashes, I should say, yesterday, plural. Onto the back straight we come then. This will be interesting. How far ahead are Rueda and Farioli? Will they be caught by the chasing pack? Well, Farioli's certainly in a position to pick up the slipstream from Rueda, and it'll be interesting to see whether it looks as though he has changed the gearing. He's now sucked into the slipstream. Is Farioli, pulls right alongside Rueda. Can he outbrake him? No, Rueda uses all the road. He's deep into the corner, holds on to the advantage, but he didn't manage to break away there, and I would suspect that maybe he has gone for I'm going to bet on the fact that he has gone for the shorter gearing. So it's Rueda that leads across the line. Key difference from yesterday, I would say, is that we've not seen Farioli move towards the front already. Yes, we have just now, but that is a lap later than what we saw yesterday. That's exactly what he needed to do if he wanted to stop Rueda getting away from it yesterday, and he's done exactly the same here today. Yeah, superb stuff. We're set up for a brilliant race, aren't we? And they're not going to let Rueda get away, can they? They're all over him. Yeah, he's regained that position out front again, but they've all backed up again now. He needs to have a great couple of sectors if he wants to keep away from any sort of attacks down the back straight, I should say. Looks like Harrison Voigt's made a bit of a recovery. He's back up to 6th now. Cormac Buchanan, who got sent right to the way. Oh, poor Cormac. He's all the way in 23rd at the end of the first lap. Disaster for the New Zealander. Almost as bad as yesterday. Well, what a tragedy. But anyway, down through the corkscrew they go, and Angel Piqueras on the number 18, looking very, very threatening as he looks to get on terms with Rueda and of course Filippo Farioli. Oh, and off
on the ground. That's Farioli. If you're going to go on the green, you might as well make good use of it.
Yeah, go way beyond it as well. I think he went to the Aragon karting track that's a stone's throw away from here, but he's managed to retake the lead. I'm not sure how they'll look at that, because technically he would have carried more speed from there.
But that's right. He could be accused of making advantage off the track, can't he? Of making place off the track, more than just touching the green stuff. That was significant. Okay, well, we'll see if anything flashes up on our screen, and we'll let you know if he's in trouble for that. So Colin Fire on the 95 in fourth place, looking superb, tucking his tall Dutch frame away behind the KTM RC 250R on the brakes at the end of the straight. And it's 5-6 guys there, all with thoughts of leading this one across the line to finish lap 2.
Keeping an eye on where our podium finishes were. Sorry.
It's Vaqueros, who just has the advantage, but Raider snatches it back. 3 abreast now on the brakes into the first corner. Raider can't quite do it. Vaqueros still has the advantage. Farioli is there in third. There's Rico Salmella, yesterday's winner.
Yeah, he's got Quiles just behind him as well there. Both of them made pretty good starts. Salmella then, the fastest lap of the race so far, although about half a second slower than what they were putting in yesterday.
Now, Rico said that he just was happy to hang in there near the front yesterday and waited to the last 5 laps before he really made his move, and maybe he's going to do the same thing again.
This is much stronger from Vaqueros, though, this race, isn't it? He didn't really feature yesterday. He was there or thereabouts, obviously ended up finishing 5th, but we didn't see him threaten for the win, I would say, but he's looking far more confident today. There is Salmella just off the back of this group. Got Quiles behind him, as I mentioned. He's got Voigt just a couple of positions ahead of him, and that's the championship fight right there, 99 versus 95.
That's very true. And Vaqueros is the same, Matt. He was just in the group yesterday, but he's way out ahead of, and he's on the green there, so he's got to watch that. He's ahead of Farioli and Raider, but trying to make a break for it. So it's still a pack of like 13 guys, and we had 4 fastest laps in that group in the last lap, so everybody's still going quicker and quicker, as that was only lap 2.
Already sensing this is less frantic than it was yesterday. It was almost as if they were quite nervous at the start of yesterday's race. Maybe they were a bit intimidated by how strong Raider was in qualifying or something, but today got a lot more order to it now, quite settled already. The overtakes are a lot cleaner. It's quite nice, really.
Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. I mean, it's just as you say, it's as though that they were so desperate to hang on to him yesterday. They proved that they could do it yesterday. They know that he's unlikely to make a break for it, and they don't have to be quite so frantic. He's in second place as Raider now, as they go across the line to finish lap 3. Still Vaqueros with the advantage, and there's that great to see Colin Fire right there using the slipstream. Is he going to take the lead? But no, not quite, but he's into second place behind Vaqueros. He passes Raider. Raider's back into 4th place, and Farioli's in 3rd, Raider in 4th. Whatever he's changed on the motorcycle, it hasn't made, if in fact he did change anything, maybe he thought better of it later on in the evening, but it hasn't made a big difference.
Oh, he nudges Vaqueros wide, sort of levers him out the way there. That was pretty impressive, and impressive and aggressive.
Well, that's right, and he did it a couple of times yesterday, didn't he? He just is so determined, but Vaqueros comes back at him.
Fair play, gives it straight back, doesn't he? So he's not shy here today, clearly feeling much better. He just avoids going on the green there, but he's now neck and neck with Fire once again, going down into the reverse corkscrew.
And Casey O'Gorman is up into 4th place ahead of Raider.
Yeah, I thought Casey was going to move up the inside of Colin Fire down in towards turn 1, but Colin just so much later on the brakes than near enough everybody else. We're going to see Casey fighting up there. Yesterday he finished P7 after starting 7th on the grid. Interesting to see Barras, who's already up to 8th. Harrison Voigt, who was frustrated with his start yesterday, is 9th. We're just where I think he finished yesterday, in fact, yes. Salmela's up to 7th now as well, so he's picking them off one by one, isn't he?
And another one to 6th. So, yeah, and of course, one of the things, if you watch yesterday's race and thought you would know that just hanging there in the group isn't always the best thing, because of course, if there's the frantic action from yesterday where you have fallers, you can so easily get taken out, as Gavin Plant found, through no fault of your own.
Yeah, Plant been pushed back down now to 13th place off the back of this group then. I think this was down to the top 11. You have Rouchet Moodley not far behind. Yes.
Yeah, and there they are, fan out across, and the 67 of Casey O'Gorman, is he going to have the advantage going into the first left-hander? No, not quite, because Rueda cuts across his nose. Oh my goodness, that was close.
Yeah. Oh, well, what's the dust we're seeing there? I think it's actually just a bit of wind, perhaps, then.
Yeah, maybe it's picked up. Yeah. Right, you're on board looking back to the 67 of Casey O'Gorman, on board with points leader and race leader Rueda.
Good to see some improvements from Casey as well. We mentioned yesterday his positioning has been there or thereabouts in the top 6, top 5 or so in the last few races, but wasn't able to get the actual results. He's looking more confident today and trying to get an actual podium again then, which would be really, really impressive for the Irishman.
That's right, because he started the year with a 2nd and a 3rd in Portugal, and there's the start. Everybody got away cleanly from the front row.
Watch the inside there onto the right of your screens. Number 14, Buchanan, Voigt and Colin Farr. They just, wow.
Buchanan, I think he bumped into Colin Farr, didn't he? And maybe it actually touched his brake, because they have brake guards. They have a lever guard that's supposed to, prevent the front brake being put on by a contact like that. But of course, if it nudges the steering, you cannot avoid that counter steer, which is exactly what happened to Cormac, and pushed him wide like that.
Standard procedure in all, road to MotoGP and Grand Prix classes, and probably motorcycle racing classes, professional ones around the world now, those front brake guards, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Increasingly, as you say, they're spreading through the classes, and they're very good. There have been very few, but some nasty accidents by brakes being put on, when there's a contact like that, and that probably saved a much nastier accident. Wow, look at the picking up the slipstream there. So I think that was Rueda being caught. Now, again, to me, that plays to my feeling that he's gone for the shorter gearing, because they just got sucked in there. He was in front going down the straight, but he just got sucked in at the end. But we'll see. We're only going to know at the end of the race. 77 is Filippo Farioli with the advantage over Rueda. Lunetta, O'Gorman, Boazzi, Piqueras, Chies.
Your now former race leader Farioli's got a track limits warning, so he can't afford to do that anymore, otherwise he will be going through the long lap penalty lane. Look at the number 5 of Boazri then, up to 5th already. That is very, very impressive indeed from the Thai rider. He's got blue hair coming into this weekend, which was a bet that he technically won by getting the win in Austria, as we see Lunetta look up the inside of Rueda that time.
Now Boazri placed himself, in the hunt for a podium position yesterday, but he said as we got into the, down the straight and into the last corner, he said, I saw everybody go for the inside. I thought, right, I'll go around the outside. He said, but they were so packed up on the inside, I could never turn back left and get a drive out of the corner. And he said, that's why I ended up off the podium. Won't make that mistake again.
No, absolutely not. Meanwhile, Rueda was concentrating too much on what Quiles was doing over towards the left-hand side of the circuit. He created a bit more distance for himself to cover, and that's where Sam Ayler just kept it straight, went towards the line and took the win. Will we see any such tactics here today? Who knows?
So it's Luca Lunetta in second place, ahead of Farioli, chasing Rueda. And it's a whole stream, isn't it? The timing, so there's just down to 13 Gavin Plants. All in the lead group. Enrico Sarmella's dropped back to 12th, I said.
He has, yeah. He's got Voigt and Moodley up ahead of him. Moodley finished just off the back of the leading group yesterday in P10, actually. 9 seconds off the win eventually. So he'll be well chuffed to be continuing to battle for perhaps even better than his personal best result in Rookies Cup here today.
Yeah, I think he was in the, right in that group at the back of it, but in it yesterday until one of the late race incidents, and that really broke him away from the group and didn't allow him to battle for a better position over the final laps. On board with Colin Farr. Second in the cup points. Chasing the number 18 of Angel Piqueras. And there we have 226. Rueda did 226. Now, in theory, with a tailwind, the top speed is sort of 5 or 6 kilometres an hour faster. So as we saw before the race, it's very, very still no tailwind down the back straight, and that's costing them sort of 5 or 6 kilometres an hour. So Rueda has the advantage. Off on the rough stuff is Luca Lunetta, not on the green stuff, I think, but certainly he had to back out of it because he's given the second place advantage to Filippo Farioli.
Someone who has been on the green stuff too much, though, as well, is Angel Piqueras. He's got a track limits warning too. That's flashed up on our timing screens. He can't afford to go off anymore either.
And Boazri, I think he's looking there in third place now. He's really looking hot, chasing the first two guys on the number 5.
5 and nearly 6 laps in as we see that's Farioli going up the inside of Rueda for the lead again. The whole field pretty much covered by 6 seconds. I mean, it's no longer really one group, two groups. It's all basically one long freight train. You can just see it through the back of your image there. This is Rookies Cup at its very best. We have lost our images, unfortunately.
Superb battle, absolutely brilliant stuff. The guys are fighting out at the head of the field there, and goodness knows how this is going to shake out, because we've still got Lunetta ahead of Farioli, and down we've got a faller. That is the number 9. It's the number 9 of Freddie Heinrich. He's obviously okay, absolutely furious with himself, but he's okay. Absolute tragedy. He's the 17-year-old German. He lies 24th in the championship and not where he wanted to end this weekend at all. But anyway, Lunetta still leads from Rueda and Farioli. Absolutely brilliant stuff. You can see at the end of the straight again, it's the number 18 of Angel Piqueras who cuts across into the left-hander. Can he get a good drive out to complete lap 7? It's side by side.
Oh my goodness me.
3 abreast is it now as we head down for the breaking point in the left-hander. 5, 6 abreast. My goodness. And it's the 58 of Luca Lunetta who has the slightest advantage as they change direction.
It's getting even closer, Peter. It's absolutely ridiculous. 5 seconds covering 22 riders now at the moment. Look at that! Who was that? That was Ruda going up the inside of Casey O'Gorman.
Colin Fire has the lead, but only just from the 77 of Filippo Farioli. Colin Fire, and he'll do whatever he can, but he's unlikely to be able to break free of these guys. But my goodness, the Dutchman gives it everything.
Yeah, he really, really does. Well, this is Rookies Cup at its best, isn't it? You've got a Dutchman from 2 Italians, a Spaniard there in 4th place. Rueda not far off behind, although he's getting beaten up now. Marcos Ruda serving him up very, very nicely there as well. Good stuff from that young Spaniard too.
Yeah, absolutely superb stuff. And for Rueda to be pushed back like that, into 5th, 6th place, it's quite something. Still 8 laps remaining. We're not even halfway, only just approaching halfway through this 15-lap race.
Pace is slower today, Peter. Lots of 203s and 204s in that leading group at the moment. I wonder whether that's to do with the heat or could be to do with all the action we're seeing on track.
Well, the action, yeah, as you say, but the heat, and as Max said yesterday, it was slippery because the track was so hot, and they don't have the tailwind down the back straight too, and that's costing them 5 or 6 kilometres an hour. So it all works together. So through the last tight left-hander onto that back straight, it is Colin Fire who has the advantage. But let's just see what the others do as they pick up his slipstream. He's got a good run there, but they still will get close, and I suspect he won't be leading by the time we get to the end of the straight.
3 of the tallest riders on the grid out front there must have created a gigantic hole in the air there, but not enough for them to actually overtake him as Colin Fire keeps the inside line. Piqueras round the outside then needs to be careful because Colin can't really see him from there. He'll know he's there though. That sort of sixth sense the racers have, even at this age and experience.
Lunetta on the 58 leads across the line, but the 77 of Filippo Farioli is alongside him. Hard on the brakes, it's Colin Fire again that takes the advantage.
Wow.
And that is sensational. Look brilliant. Just a pack of about 8 of them covered by the proverbial blanket there.
I think when they're riding like this, we need to stop calling them a pack and call them a murmuration, because that's just how much it's formation flying out here in Red Bull Rookies Cup, isn't it? There's Harrison Voigt, look. Up to P8 now for him.
And Raider back to 7th there. He's only just ahead of the 29, as you say, of Harrison Voigt. And I wonder if Harrison can work his way. He said he was frustrated with himself not being able to work his way through the pack yesterday. Let's see if he can do a better job of it today. But it's the 77 of Filippo Farioli ahead of Colin Fire. Down through the corkscrew again. First gear, flick it left. Get on the gas as soon as you're brave enough and drive it up through the gearbox, up through 2nd, 3rd, 4th, fifth. Fifth gear going hard in fifth until you brake and cut it back to second and even first, depending on the gearing you're using for the next left-hander, the tight left.
I think Farioli went beyond track limits again then. He needs to be so careful because he's already got that warning, and this is where he went down yesterday in the race, out of contention. No such mistakes this time around though for the Italian.
Yeah, you can't afford to. Imagine how much track position you'd lose now if you did a long lap penalty. You'd lose 10 or 12 places easily. Out onto the straight again. Farioli ahead of Fire.
Ruda in fourth place is having probably his best race of his Rookies Cup career so far, isn't he? That is so impressive from the 69.
Yeah, he sort of knocked it up a gear, didn't he, at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg and got in amongst them. And really looking a lot better this weekend again. Of course, he's back in Spain, back in his home territory. Colin on the inside there, Colin Fire on the inside. The 18, of course, is Angel Piqueras. They're in third place. Lunetta is in second. They go across the line. The 69 of Marcus Ruda, as you say, in fourth place, ahead of Farioli, Rueda.
Oh, we have a long lap penalty. Piqueras has copped it, so that's more track limits then. So he will. That's pretty disastrous for his chances of this win. That will send him right back, because that'll be a couple of seconds. That'll send him back top 15 maybe.
That's right. And I see Cormac Buchanan actually is 15th now at the back of that group, so he's done a superb job. And it will be interesting to see just how many places he loses when he takes that penalty. And of course, the other thing is he's got to know that he's going to do that penalty.
Oh, well.
When they're in a group like this, they're not really looking at their pitwoods.
It should be flashing up. Does it flash up on their dashes here? I know it does in Moto 3. So there's the race direction deemed no excuses in the Grand Prix class dashboards. It flashes like a complete beacon. Oh, he's already done it. So he's got it. Wow.
Well, where is he going to go? We'll see where he comes out. It's not a particularly onerous long lap, but it is long. Look, it's plenty. He's going to go back to 15th.
Oh, goodness me. Well, this is going to be some comeback ride from Piqueras, because he is looking up for the victory here today. But that is a heck of an effort he's got on right now.
Yeah. And Colin's got a nice little bit of an advantage. I wonder if that's enough to... 13th, so he's done well with that disastrous start. But let's just see what Colin Fire can manage. He's just got about 3-4 bike lengths lead. He's so good up the hill here and across the top.
Warnings. He's got Farioli behind him, who's on his final warning. In fourth place, Lunetta, then Rueda.
And those two mucking each other up. You see that Filippo Farioli went inside Ruda. And of course, that's just playing really into the hands of Colin Fire. He's got a clear road ahead of him. Nobody mucking up his line. And he's doing an absolutely sensational job. Rueda up to fourth. He can see what's happening up ahead of him.
As you see, Rueda's got Salmela just behind him now. Then in this part, he was so strong yesterday. Of course, got the victory, but what can he do about that this time around? A little bit of daylight between, well, quite a few bike lengths for Colin Fire out front, and then just a couple of bike lengths between Ruda and then now Salmela and Rueda behind them. We're on the back straight once again. And
the gap varied between 3, 6, 4 tenths around the previous lap. So let's just see what he can make of it here. He's down the back straight, and as Matt pointed out, they really didn't catch him last time, and he seems to manage it again, but he's got to keep doing this for another 4 laps. And
you can tell it's been a bit more sensible the last couple of laps, because he had 203s across the board in the top 14 last time around. What will it be this time? Across the line they come. What sort of lap times are we putting in towards the end of this race? 202s now from Fire and Farioli.
Fire still has the advantage, but they've caught right up to him. And Rueda's seen what he's doing. Rueda's moved into second place. He can see the writing on the wall. He knows he can't let Colin dominate this race from the front. So he's our points leader, the arch rival to the Dutchman in the points chase, has moved up into the second place, and he is going to do everything possible to hang on to the Dutchman as with 3.5 laps remaining.
More track limits warnings for the likes of Ruda and Boisri as well. Boisri finds himself just inside the top 10. Ruda up there fighting for third with Farioli.
Yeah. Collins still with the slightest advantage. There's the number 5 of Tactical Barazri. He crossed the line in 9th place, but he's picked up a place since then. He's right on the tail of Angel Piqueras on the 18 as they go down the corkscrew. And of course the winner can come from anybody in the top 10 at least here at this point. Still 3.5 laps remaining.
I was about to say that Quiles isn't looking as strong as he was yesterday. Maybe same could be said for Salmela too, but the fact is that, as you say, top 12 could maybe get a win.
Yeah, and I don't know, I think Ryder might have touched the green there, and maybe Fire did as well. There was courting that issue as they exited the corner. And Ryder is closer to Colin Fire than the others have been in the previous laps, obviously intending to pick up the slipstream, not let the Dutchman dominate this race from the front. Out onto the straight. Great run from Fire again, but Ryder should be able to pick up. It depends on what gearing Ryder is running.
So Gorman chasing Ruda, getting sucked in now. I mean, those onboard images we have really goes to show why we say you get sucked into the slipstream. It's incredible. As Fire, well, he gets pushed back to 3rd then for the slipstream that time around. Ryder out front, he would be extending his lead if
trying to hold on to 4th place. He's got Marcus Ruda trying to deal with him there, but Colin Fire hangs on to the 3rd place.
Oh, Quiles going wide there at turn 1.
Yeah, and that's really upset things for him.
Not quite as much as yesterday's moment that he had, though, eh?
Oh, no, my goodness, no. He said the bike was dancing under me yesterday. He said, I thought I'd crashed, it came back, then it went again. He said, yeah, I was lucky to get away with that. So, yes, it's the same, Matt. Not quite as dramatic as yesterday's.
Angel Piqueras took the fastest lap of the race last time around. There it is, a 2:02.3, and there he is in the middle of this group. He's got Brasri just behind him. Yesterday's winner, Salmela, there too. So I think that comeback is well and truly on for Piqueras. But the question is, can he pick them off one by one over the next 2.5 laps?
So Rico Salmela said that he waited till about 5 laps to go and then pushed towards the front. Well, there's 2.5 laps to go now, and he's got some work to do because he's back in 8th place.
Yeah, if you're going to have a chance at winning this, I mean, a couple of laps go as the top 10 or 12 could have a chance, but as those laps tick down, well, you've got to really be in about, what would you say, the top 6 in order to be picking up the slipstream and make a daring move into the final corners?
Well, absolutely, Matt, unless there's a big drama, of course, and that can shake things up as it did a couple of times in yesterday's race. Hasn't done it so far in the race today, so it's still the usual men, if you like. It's Ryder and Fire coming down the back straight. Oh, look at that whole line of slipstream there. KTM C250Rs, nose to tail, superb stuff. Who's going to fan out? Who's going to get? Ryder has the advantage, but will Colin Fire go late on the brakes? Super late on the brakes for the Dutchman. So quick into the corner. My goodness, if he can do that on the last lap, the others are in trouble. Absolutely brilliant stuff. That was fantastic. And he's got an incredible drive out of the corner as well. My goodness, that was impressive.
Really, really impressive. Do you know what these last few laps have been as well? They've really picked up the pace. They've sorted themselves out. Just 2:02s and 2:03s for the last couple of laps from quite a lot of the front runners. That's really dropped a few guys off the back of the pack. Rollstone down in 15th, 5 seconds adrift now with a second pack chasing now too. So the pace is red hot in the final stages of this race.
58, of course, it's Luca Lunetta. He's up into 2nd place. Rueda's there in 3rd. The 67 of Casey O'Gorman in 4th place. But they're swapping around places, and that's playing into the hands of Colin Fire, who has now the slightest advantage. But they're not going to let him get away with it.
Oh, Piqueras round the outside of both Ruda and O'Gorman there, moving up into 4th position, so he can well and truly still win this despite that long lap penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great move, wasn't it? Brasri on the number 5 there. You can see him towards the back of the group there. He'll be frustrated with that because he fancied his chances of a podium yesterday, and he did again today. But he's going to have to work for it now because there's only a lap and a half remaining. Colin Fire has the advantage over the 58 of Luca Lunetta.
right. I never tire of seeing these guys learn literally overnight how the dynamics of the races change from one day to the next. As Rueda, well, overtakes one of the guys who did a bit of learning. That's where his race came to an end yesterday. Lunetta, he keeps it upright this time around, but Piqueras picks his pocket.
And he lost 2 places, in fact, didn't he?
Exactly.
Because Piqueras and Rueda went past him in just a couple of metres there. Right, so down the back straight for the penultimate time. And, the sensational move he made in the previous lap, Colin Farr, I'm not sure he wants to be leading down the back straight on the last lap, because coming from about 3rd place, he just was sensational on the brakes. Right, so now, here we go then, across the line. 14 laps completed, 1 to go.
And it's Piqueras who's gone into the lead then, with Rueda 2nd place, but not for long, because Fires goes up his inside once again then. So from the long lap penalty lane to the lead of the race on the final lap, Piqueras has picked all their pockets so far.
Absolutely incredible, as you say, to come back from that long lap penalty to lead the race like that. Really didn't think that was on. But anyway, Colin Farr there in 2nd place. He's got his eyes on the win, of course, as Rueda. Rueda's not the sort of racer who thinks, oh yes, I'll just count the points here. He's out for the victory, of course. And it's the last lap of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action here at Aragon.
Oh, who's that who's gone down the background? Oh, I think, is it Sal Miller? I think Rico's gone down, yesterday's winner. What a shame. I was about to say we had the surprise of the season yesterday, and it won't be the same again here today. Poor Rico.
No, but he's obviously okay. That's the main thing. Well, that's racing, isn't it? So now back to the front, and it is Piqueras, or is it Fire who's taken the lead? No, it's side by side. It's Piqueras with the advantage, but Fire is right there, as is Mark Schroeder, and I think it's O'Gorman is in the hunters. Oh my!
Keyless up to 2nd, but for how long? Wow. You've got Fire around his outside. He retakes it now.
Yeah, Colin Fire there. He's superbly positioned now. Really, I think he's in a great position if he can pick up the slipstream, a good slipstream down the back straight. This is the last lap. This is the last round. Run down the back straight. The last slipstreaming opportunity. The last outbraking opportunity at the end of the straight. It is the 18 of Angel Piqueras, but it's got Colin Fire on his tail. Then the 28 of Max Chies.
Absolutely squeezing every muscle in their bodies to stay in the bubble here. Keyless, who's going to get the last of the late breakers?
Fire goes late, but he's got somebody up the inside. He's there in 2nd place, but it is the 18 of Piqueras who has the advantage. Does it across the line? It's side by side. They're side by side. Is he going to win it? Colin Fire, I think, wins it. Absolutely well. Whittle as a photo finish. He thinks he's won it. I think he's won it.
I think he's won it too.
Piqueras, Chies, Lunetta, Farioli, Rueda. That has helped with the points. Now, Rico's win yesterday was fantastic. Wow. But Fire to win that, I mean, to me, he does get the man of the meeting.
That was incredible. I mean, I just did not expect that at all. The speed he carried round the outside was just sensational. Piqueras, well, he got his pockets picked at the final corner. Then Keyless, a 3rd spot for him. That was brilliant too.
And has that injected some excitement?